Hey, hey,
Good evening.
what is everybody up to?
God damn it.
At this point, I swear you do that on purpose.
No, I don't. I'm still not accustomed to unmuting my
How long
mic
does
myself.
it take?
After all this time, you're still not accustomed to it?
I don't know how I'm not. There's been so much going on in my mind recently.
One thing at a time.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do.
And it's that thing that's in front of you right now.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, Tom.
I'm getting this thing shared out.
I noticed it was shared out before it even actually we came on.
Hey, Joe. Yeah, I was just on Joe's show just like a few minutes ago on the deck. It's been a busy day for me with shows today.
Now, whose fault? Whose fault is that? Whose?
I'm not saying that's. You're saying like it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all.
You have to give yourself 5 minutes at least between shows to regroup.
Well, I. This is my
Oh,
third
believe
show.
it or not, he was actually on before 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
No,
Well, the other thing too is that I this is my third show for today, and I know for a fact that
third.
after Lois's show, I was off for a good hour because I wanted to eat something.
Well, yeah, you have to give yourself time to regroup and say, okay, this is the show we're doing now. This is what I'm concentrating on right
Yeah,
now.
I know.
You need to prioritize.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy.
Oh,
Why is it hot? Okay, why do we have a big old exclamation mark on things? Which one is it?
Oh,
LinkedIn,
it's
maybe?
LinkedIn. Yeah.
the LinkedIn page. Why I don't know.
Connection was disconnected.
There was a weird thing right before we went live. I went in and did the destinations. Everything was all set to go. And then when Nick came on, I was like, you know what? Let's just go. I looked up. All of my destinations are gone.
Oh no.
So I go in and retype everything. Next thing I know, we got 18 destinations.
Ah,
Oh my
Somehow
God.
it hid the originals. And when I went in to put them all back, they all came up at once. So I had to get rid of all of them, then redo it. But
Jeez.
holy cow.
these things just piss me off. There's no two ways about it. They just piss me off.
Yeah, there is so
Always the
much
worst.
going on.
Yeah.
Um, Tonight's topic, we are going to be talking about ParaPsyCon. But before we do that, there was another convention that I went to on Saturday in Peru. It's called Oddities and something. So it's sort of almost like a metaphysical thing.
Mhm.
I met Grizzly Chris.
Oh,
Oh
you
wow.
did.
I met up with him. Nice guy, and I got this.
Oh, what do you know?
Eating pepper sauce.
Yep.
Okay.
So he created his own hot sauce.
Okay.
I tried it out, as you can see.
You tried it out or you drank it?
You know what? I almost could have drank this.
Yeah. Is
So,
it spicy?
well, see that's the thing. There is just enough of a kick to let you know that there's spices there, but it's not the kind to make it hot. Um, there's more flavor coming out of it than heat.
Good.
This is this is really good.
That's good. That's really good to hear.
Yeah. So this is on sale. Bigfoot Outlaw Peeping Pepper Sauce.
Is it on his page?
Right now, their website, the online store is being revamped. That's what his fiance Mary was telling me on Saturday. So to order this, I think they're $10 a piece. To order it, you got to contact Chris himself. Um, but I thought it was really good, and when I was letting him know what I thought of it, I actually told him that I think that if this was put in Walmart, it might do well
Yeah.
because I like it. It's not really like any other hot sauce out there. It doesn't make it. It doesn't do that to you.
Is does he only have the one kind? Or is there heat levels?
As far as I know, this is just the one kind.
Oh, okay.
But I thought it was really good. I thought it
That's
was
really
really
good to
good.
hear.
Got it Saturday. I tried it Sunday. Used up almost the whole bottle and finished it off a couple days ago.
Jeez.
But it's well the way that I do with my hot sauce is I pour it into a bowl and then I dip my chicken nuggets or popcorn chicken or whatever. I dip it into the hot sauce. I don't just like pour it
Yeah.
on like most people do. But I thought it was really good. He is going to be in Peru again this Saturday for another convention that a friend of mine, Jeff King, is uh, putting on. It's called what's it called? Misfits something.
They're having one of those oddities conventions in Denver here pretty soon too.
Oh
There
no!
was also one that occurred.
Look at Katie.
Wait, what did Kate say?
Look at what Kate said. This is actually something from weeks ago.
I'm surprised she didn't tell me that sooner.
Well, or you can always get up against the wall and or the doorway like my husband does.
I was just talking with her just a second ago. She messaged me personally. She never said anything about that.
She's probably saving it for the show.
Yeah.
And now I guarantee she has been replaced in bed. It's now him and the bat scratcher.
He's going to have the back scratchers laying right next to him in
Ours
bed.
hangs on the wall next to the bed.
That's right.
She's going to have to start sleeping on the couch.
And it's actually got writing on it. It's hilarious. It's got writing on it. I thought it was Dad's, and it's not. It's his. And it says, Dad's, walk away without it.
I can already see what Kim would write about that one with the back scratcher because I already know what it'd be. Her reaction to her husband sleeping with it. It's like, now I'll tell you what.
Nick, Jan's talking to you.
Hey, Jan, what's up? What's going on?
Yeah.
All over today. What do you mean all over today?
Your 3 shows, dude.
Yeah, Nick.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been all over the place today. I told you.
He is incapable of saying no.
He's incapable of focusing.
Well, maybe for the muting issue, the mic issue, but everything else I'm still paying attention to.
Back brush for the bath too. You know what? Okay, we're gonna go down that rabbit hole, Kate. We're going down that rabbit hole. Look, I'm a white girl, but I'm gonna tell you what. I found black girl TikTok, black girl shower TikTok.
What?
No. This seriously. We thought we were clean. Get on that place and you'll know you weren't clean. And they have this. It is so cool because I mean, obviously, with our white skin, you don't show the ashiness like they do, but we still are. It just, we're not pigmented enough to show unless we're tanned. But I am telling you, the rituals that they go through for the shower, I bought every damn thing. Every damn thing.
Oh boy.
It's called an African, yeah. It's called an African scrub something. Anyway,
It's loose.
it's huge, and it has knots in it where it exfoliates your skin. Japanese have, yeah. But look on TikTok.
African scrub net or
Yes. And if it's not knotted, it's not the right one. But I'm telling you, with the scrunchies, the brushes, the all that stuff, they harbor bacteria. This does not. Awesome. And it's like,
actually I've seen something like this before.
it's really cool because I tried some of the little tips and tricks, like, of course, exfoliating, which we've always done with the scrunchie. But you do antibacterial first, which is controversial because you do need bacteria for your pH. But, or you can do, whatever body wash first. Then you go into hydrating, which there's one Dove makes that's got lotion in it. Or you can scrub the second time and use lotion while you're in the water.
So you do all of this in the shower?
You do all of it in the shower.
No, I just want to get in and get out, and that's it.
Well, no, Tom, no.
Wow.
It's actually awesome. And then you get out and you put oil on, like body oil. And then lotion on top of that. And then there's little drops. These drops are amazing. They're
okay, from start to finish, how long does this take?
30 minutes. 30 minutes.
Gee.
Wow.
Okay, but you have to think about, women are a little different because women have to make sure you're dry. You don't just get dressed and move on. You have to be dry.
Oh, trust me, men have to too.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that is true.
So, you have two choices. You can stand there and la-di-da until you dry.
Especially for those of us that's got longer hair.
You used to have longer hair too.
I know, but right now I ain't got to deal with it.
Or you can blow dry, whatever the hell you want to do. But, and these drops are absolutely amazing. And then there's this, it's not powder like shower to shower or, Johnson & Johnson, this stuff. It's not. It's
Beyond.
Yeah, no, this is it's not exactly a powder, it's more of a dusting, and it smells good. So you put it on, kind of, rub it in a little bit on your lotion and stuff.
Like baby powder?
It's like that, but it's finer, and it's infused with whatever scent. They make it. It's on TikTok Shop. They make it. And it's infused with your favorite perfume, whatever. And then you put the body oil drops, wherever you put perfume, on your arms, behind your neck, behind your knees, whatever. And those layers of smell are not just, I mean, they make you smell good all day. Jesse just takes a blow dryer, his big foot. Oh, no, well, I wasn't actually referring to hair. I was referring to downstairs. But
Angela, we go all over the place on this show.
Oh, this is
yeah, we do.
Viewer? I don't remember this person.
No, they've obviously not been on before.
No, well, I'm just gonna say then, welcome, Angela.
Yeah,
bath cleaning
Kind of
pads.
all
Yeah,
over the place.
those work real well. And,
Bath
and witch hazel. Witch hazel is like the best thing in the world.
But don't worry, we're actually going to be getting into the paranormal here in just a minute.
Yeah, and before we jump to Nick's excursions, what do y'all think about this Annabelle bullshit?
What?
Annabelle.
Oh, Annabelle. Oh, yeah, that whole thing. Like, okay, for starters, she was not at ParaPsyCon, thankfully. But you know
No.
what? You're not the first. You're not the first to have actually brought that up about when it comes to Annabelle. They're taking her now to these other Paracons and events, and I don't know if it's true or not. There's even some rumors going around that they're even trying to take her out of the cage, which that to me is just a deathly mistake.
Okay.
There's something that was put out yesterday or 2 days ago that the real Annabelle is still where she belongs, and what's actually out on tour is just a replica.
I'm
I
gonna tell
hope
you something.
so.
If that's the truth, and I paid to go there, I'd want my money back, and I mean immediately. That's some bullshit because
Yeah.
they said that's Annabelle.
But
Number two,
but that was something that was being put out there, and I would actually believe that.
I'll have to message Ryan because
Because I'm kind of wondering that too.
I'll have to message Ryan because I will absolutely lose all respect for that man if he portrayed that as Annabelle and it was not.
Yeah, I don't remember who put
I
it
would
out
be
there,
pissed.
but that was put out there.
Now, we
Uh,
have two sides of this. Yeah, right. The plantation burned while she was in New Orleans. Those 12 inmates escaped while she was in New Orleans. Now, let's go back to logic. Would those inmates have escaped without her there? Probably. Would that mansion have burned without her there? I don't know because they have not released the cause. And anything paranormal, you don't know the cause because, like, paranormal can make you sick. You're not going to know the cause if a doctor can't find it. And how's a
Right.
doctor going to say, yeah, it's because you were there doing this? No. But we also have to keep that skeptical side of ourselves and say, come on.
And this was right after you showed us that TikTok video, the little woman with the symbol thing, and
Yes, warding off
Yeah.
those spirits before they pulled her out. Yes. But
yeah, it.
I will say the Warrens warned against it. Do not move her.
Well, and that's something that, and I know we'll get to again. I'll just start off with something, and this is more involving ParaPsyCon, but I'll still say it anyway. Was among the guests that was there, John Zaffis was at the event,
Uh-huh.
and unfortunately, I was only able to talk to him for just a few minutes. But I went whoa, holy cow!
Angela, were you close with him or was he like not a good person? Like, could he have attributed to that?
While we're waiting for her answer,
That's something we didn't see coming.
yeah, definitely not. But real quick, while we're waiting for her to respond, when I spoke to John, I only had just a few. Oh wait, things were occurring where they were before that.
No.
Okay, so it wasn't attributed to him.
Okay, yes, close. He was attached.
Okay, so it could have been his attachment that came there.
Possibly.
Well, attachments follow energy lines.
Yep, that's
And
correct.
of course, you're energy connected to your brother. Ugh, that's awful. I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah. But when I was, like I said, I only had a few minutes to speak to John, but I should have asked him about what his opinion was on the whole thing with Annabelle when I had the opportunity. So I wouldn't be surprised that he probably hated the idea that they were bringing it because, he took over the Warrens Museum for quite a short while before their son-in-law Tony Spera took over because he was running the museum. He's the Warrens' nephew.
So if anybody would know if Annabelle is actually on tour or a replica is on tour, he should be the one to know.
Again, and that's one of my regrets. I should have asked him when
I
I had
think
the
Brian would tell
opportunity.
me.
Yeah, but I
Ryan,
also,
sorry.
of course, I'm also friends with him on Facebook, so I could always just message him.
Yeah. Like I said, I
Interest.
don't remember who said it, because there was 1,000 people talking about Annabelle and this fire and all of that. And
There was a fire in Texas too when they went through, albeit
Angela
a
said
smaller
she
one.
took. Angela said
oh,
she took
Lord is
care of
on
everything.
fire. What do you want?
Well, here's the thing. Did any of y'all watch? Um, there was a video put out by one of our mutual friends that was talking about, hey, um, let's get logical with this because a lot of what the Warrens were doing is now being scrutinized
Yeah,
because they would bring a reporter to every investigation.
Well,
And
truth be told, they were being scrutinized way back then, too.
yeah,
right.
they were, and
I
you know
understand it back then more than I do now.
you know who we should.
I can get it now because with everything that's come out to the forefront, um, and everything of what people are discovering can be easily faked, easily
Right.
manifested.
Uh-huh.
So it would make sense to go back to way back when and go through that stuff and say, nope, I think this is faked, or no, I think this is a legitimate thing.
That's yeah. You're absolutely right about that. But you know that fame was in the forefront when you're bringing a reporter with you
Yeah,
everywhere you go. Fame is in the forefront of your mind.
no matter what, you're always going to have, even when it came to the Warrens, there was always going to be some kind of controversy, associated with them because of the reports or whatever the case was. Now, like I said, I was fortunate enough to have met Lorraine Warren a few years before she passed, well, almost 10 years before she passed away.
Mhm.
And, when we had her, the only time the Chicago Ghost Conference, she really gave a lot of detail. I don't, obviously, it was over 15 years ago, so I don't really remember exactly what she had said after all these years, but it seemed like when she was speaking, just like what you see in a lot of the documentaries that she was featured in, she was very sincere of any of these type of things. And of course, like I said, John Zaffis also followed suit since he was their nephew.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, to be an actor, you have to look sincere.
Yeah.
So, we have both sides of that. Let me acknowledge this real quick.
Yeah, I
Angela,
just want to see this too.
that's awesome that he visited you.
Wow, check that out.
I
I
I
got
think that's pretty cool.
I got to ask you too. Have you been swamped lately with friend requests?
Yeah, I have. I've been getting a lot of them recently.
I get two or three a day, and I
Oh,
just, if we
they
don't have
are
friends
just
in common, they're gone.
they are just coming in by the dozen. I mean, I'm just deciding now that whenever I get these friend requests, I'll look at their profiles, and
Mhm.
unless, and I know it seems kind of picky, but honestly, just my way of trying to back down on these. Unless I see the title of paranormal on their page, there's no reason for me to be friends with them then. So I become kind of not trying to be picky, but I'm just more selective on who's going to be on my Facebook friend list and who's not.
I go through their posts and I go through their friends to see, how many
Yeah,
friends do we have in common? And then I go through their posts. If they're constantly negative, if they're constantly political, if they're constantly, downgrading somebody, no.
yeah, that's another thing I do too. I go through their posts to see if there's anything interesting or more paranormal themed, or if they have the mutual. Sometimes I'll also if they have a lot of the mutual friends I have, but other than that, I just don't really accept as many people anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
I would get a couple every now and then, but here in this past week, I must have gotten at least 100.
See, I just got another one just showed up.
I was just going to ask about you, Braxton.
Hey, Braxton, good to see you.
I was wondering if, when Annabelle came to New Orleans, if she got you or what the hell happened.
I had 2 requests since we've started this show.
Yeah, see, I'm not there.
The only other time,
thank goodness.
The only other exception I'll make, and Jeremy, you know this, well, actually, both of you guys know this all too well, is if I get a Facebook friend request from, and again, it still has to require that paranormal name or their paranormal identity if it's from another country. I think to myself, if it's like somebody who's actually an investigator and it's from another country that I've never had connections with, oh, hell yeah, that's what I'm going to go for then, because that's something that would be a country that I've never connected with before. So I have my exceptions, but it's rare that I ever allow it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I don't look at I don't require that you have to be paranormal because I am into so many different things.
Yeah.
But you guys know I kind of stepped back from the paranormal for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like the new connections I would make, I would also try to reach out to this person too. And I mean, the reality of it is, not everyone who's into like the paranormal field actually will list it on their actual profile.
Right.
Sometimes you got to reach out to them yourself and see if they're because you later find out that they may not be investigators, but they do have the interest. And again, and that's what led to my success of connecting with these other countries, because not everyone that I've connected were actual investigators. Some were just people interested in the subject matter and maybe aspire to eventually become investigators for their respective countries.
And some just need help. That's
why I'm not. That's another too.
I'm not picky on that. Braxton, no, I was talking about Annabelle the doll from the Conjuring movie.
Yep.
He was in New Orleans last week.
Not the same doll.
Raggedy Ann. The historic
real Annabelle is the Raggedy Ann.
Logan Mansion. Raggedy Ann doll. I saw that one mansion burned down. It not a mansion. It was a sugar beet. Was it sugar beet plantation? But like somebody said, that history in there was awful. Absolutely awful. So if Annabelle burned it down, maybe we should be thanking her. I don't know.
Beats me.
Wow. I did have something different come in. I just got it today, but it actually came in.
I get it.
Ago.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Somebody was wanting to be a publicist for me.
Oh. Is it legit?
No, it's not.
Okay.
So it says here, hello, my name is Kate, different Kate. I was thinking it was a different Kate. Has worked with industry leaders and best-selling authors. Now I am launching my own PR agency to help podcasters like yourself grow, get booked, and get a strong brand. I came across you and the 13th Dimension on a Facebook podcast group and really love what you're doing. I'd like to help you expand your reach and get in front of the right audience. Here's how we can make it happen. And then, just listen to this. And then she made a mistake. Our pricing starts at $500 a month.
Oh boy.
My friend had that happen, and what's bad is my friend was homeless, and I helped her move into her first home since this happened. And then, this was her thing. She would write to escape the streets and what was happening. And they got her with that. And I'm like, no, not, no.
As soon as I saw that, nope. But I decided to respond.
Oh, jeez.
Look. Hi, Kate. Thank you so much for reaching out. I found your offer intriguing, but unfortunately, I am not in a position to be paying for any kind of services for representation, especially since I know that representation is normally based on commission. But thank you for reaching out, and I wish you best luck in your endeavors.
Yeah,
There
that
you go.
sounds like one of those scam artists.
Yeah.
Well, at least you were decent about it and let
Yep.
her know at the same time, I ain't stupid. You need to stop.
No, at the same time, I called her out on it. You know, I am not going to pay for anything.
Oh wait, here, Adrian. That's what Braxton said for you.
Yeah, I was looking. Hey, when you do go there, please take pictures. I don't know if I'll ever get there again. Let me
Um,
see.
okay, so I found the advertisement for what's going on this Saturday.
Oh, Halloween in May. It must be like one of those halfway to Halloween parties.
This is the one that Jeff King of TSPI is putting on. TSPI is one of the teams that I have worked closely with for the last 7 years, 8 years, something like that, at least.
Benefiting a Rosie's place. Do we know what that is?
It This is for um, like autistic kids and
Oh, really?
Okay.
that's what this is. Um, Amanda Wood, she is a part of Jeff's team. She actually came to me about this. Handed me this flyer. It did not have a date on it. Handed me this flyer and told me what it was for, and yeah, absolutely, I would love to set up for something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
When is it? She said May 24th. And, oh, that
Yeah,
would
just a
not be a
few
good
days.
day for me because that's Angelia's birthday.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Jeez.
So, and she's like, well, bring her over here. Oh, no,
I think
It
that'd
was
be
that
cool to bring
easy.
her there.
um, so, and she's going to be 20 years old on Saturday. Can you believe that?
I remember
Wow.
when she turned 17.
I
Hmm.
remember when she was 15. No, wait, no, not 15,
We
16
haven't
then.
known each other that long yet.
Yeah, I was going to say at least 16. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I had to correct myself very quickly on that.
No, I just remember the 17 because I was like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen now? Because now she's almost an adult. Braxton, yes. Look me up on Facebook.
I'm
So,
friends. I was going to say I'm friends with him on Facebook too. So if anything, he can always look through my Facebook friend list.
Yeah,
so
I
that
shouldn't be
that's
too hard to
what's
find.
going on this Saturday, which is Angelia's birthday, and May is always a hectic month because my mom's birthday and her birthday are only 3 days apart. My
Yeah,
mom's
You know,
yesterday,
I
yeah.
saw that yesterday.
and she would have been 76. I'm sure by now she wouldn't mind me telling her age. Um,
I don't
He's
know.
a few years younger than me, Chris. God damn it, Chris.
and Angelia is going to be 20.
Wow.
She will be officially leaving the teenage years.
Beginning a new decade in her life.
Ah,
Yeah, I didn't realize how close your birthday was to mine, Chris.
Awesome, Braxton. Birthday. Dad's birthday is wait, my birthday, Dad's birthday, my sister's. Wait, are they all on the same day, Chris?
No, I don't think so. I think
I
they're
was just
all
kind of
this
confused
month.
by what Chris was saying.
can you imagine the party if they were?
Just imagine, yeah. I mean, I've seen like maybe a parent and one of their kids on the same day, but I've never seen it where it's like all like three of them all on the same day.
That's yeah, well, that would be a little freaky.
Would be. See, the six is his sisters. I'm the 10th. Dad's the 15th. Well, that's kind of similar, like it is with some of my family, because My brother's birthday is on February 7th. My mom's is February 16th, and then of course mine is the 24th. So we're all kind of close together too.
Yeah. It's harder
Almost
to
10
buy
days
gifts
apart.
that way.
Yeah, almost 10 days apart.
We've decided to start buying gifts now for Christmas, especially because of the tariffs and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
We're going to
might
start
as
buying
well.
now.
That's kind of a smart choice because the best way I could describe this, as crazy as it's going to sound, it's kind of it's almost similar to like how Spirit Halloween does things now. Because like even before the tariffs, of course, believe it
I
or
want to
not,
see Spirit.
believe they start their business up in June.
Yeah.
I want to see Spirit Christmas.
Yeah, I really want to see that too. I'm really hoping that they do that this year. I mean, I knew that they were starting that last year, but they were only doing it just in the local areas of like the states of New York and New Jersey, because that's where the company was originally founded. I think it was in New Jersey, but they spread it to New York as well. And I think this year, I think they're going to finally start spreading it the other states as well as the provinces of Canada, because they also have Spirit Halloween in Canada as well. So I think they're going to start spreading it all basically throughout good portion of North America. I could be wrong though. I don't know the details.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. So, okay,
There is
enough of my.
a Halloween movie.
Yeah, I knew there was a new one coming out.
No, it was um
Oh, the movie. Yeah, I still need to see that.
yeah, Christopher Lloyd was in
Got
it.
it.
Yep.
So, enough of my veering off other little side roads here. Who did you get to meet?
Oh, for Paris. Well, for starters, among those I got, first of all, the event was great.
He was
So I saw a
supposed to
lot
stop
of
over
the.
here on the way
I know we were
and
hoping
on the way back.
Mike was in such a hurry. He wanted to get back as soon as I really wanted to stop. Trust me, I really did. But um, among those that I mean, yeah, a lot of them I've seen before, but it was still great seeing them again anyway. I saw Brian J. Cano, uh, Aaron Sagers, and for the first time ever, Dan Sturgis from Paranormal Account on Camera. All of them were there once again. You had Dave Schrader, Dustin Perry,
Miles.
uh, Shane Pittman, from 28 Days Haunted and Portals to Hell and uh, Ghosts of Devil's Perch, respectfully. We also had,
Him?
what's that?
Who was it from Portals to Hell did we meet in Colorado?
Oh, that was jeez.
Jan could tell me. I know she can.
Yeah, she definitely was. I know who you're talking about though.
Douchebaggins? No, fuck
No,
that.
it was not. He lives in Nevada.
Did you see the story they did?
No, I haven't seen the recent story. Oh, Sean?
Shut there. Thank you. Did you see the story they did on Mr. Baggins?
No. What did he do now?
He didn't do anything. Somebody dug into his life
Oh,
and
jeez.
how fake he really is.
Oh, I believe it.
Oh, I mean, regarding, like, it kind of draws you in when he says he had dealt with the paranormal all his life and that's why he got in it. No,
No,
none of that is true.
he actually, did you know this? And I'm ashamed to admit it, but it's true though. He actually was born and grew up here in Chicago
Really?
before. Yeah, he was from here. And I'm ashamed to admit that I'm taught at times we talk shit about a fellow Chicagoan for me, but still, it doesn't even matter if he was from. It doesn't even matter if he was from here or somewhere else. Somewhere else. He's basically still a douchebag in the end.
Yeah, somebody, I don't even remember where I saw it. I didn't read the article other than just pretty much the headlines.
Well, it says here that Zach was born in Washington D.C.
He
Mm-hmm.
may have been born in Washington, but then he probably moved to
Born,
Chicago because
born in
when they
Washington
did the
and raised in Glen
Aye.
Ellen, Illinois.
Glen Ellen, yeah, that's just like half hour, 40 minutes away from me. So
It's really
yeah,
close
like
to Joliet.
Joe. Oh yeah, it's close to Joliet, and Yeah, I knew he was
from
from Chicago
Chicago,
because he was.
Illinois.
We don't need to go through that.
Nick, embrace it.
No, no.
Oh
Tom did
no,
that. Tom did that earlier too on one of the shows, but anyways, like when Ghost Adventures did that episode of Chicago when they went to investigate the Excalibur in Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, that's when Zach and at that up until then I didn't know that he was from Chicago. So he had said that he had grew up in the 90s, from this area and went to several areas, some of which I too was very familiar with. But you know, yeah, he's had an interesting upbringing, but it does not excuse for all the fake things that he's been doing.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. That was just interesting that somebody was able to dig into his life and actually post something. Now, if I ever find it again, I'll actually look at it. But of course, it was during the week. I didn't get a chance to do that.
Well, I saw something else about him, but I don't really want to mention it on this show.
Yes, we
Yeah,
did.
If
Yeah, we did, Chris.
it's true, it is extremely serious.
yeah, yeah.
I'm just gonna say for Chris, yeah, Chris, who was also on Fear Fans Tuesday night after the show was over, he and I were hanging out and chatting online for almost 2 hours, and we were talking about douchebaggins and Jolie at prison. I was voicing my disgust that I had for him when he came out to Jolie at prison and claimed credit that they were the first investigators to investigate Jolie at prison.
Oh
Which
no.
that was not true at all. We came there two years because they went during COVID. We
Yeah.
got there 2 years before they did. And I know we were the first because we were also helping out with those tours. So, if anything, and I'm not trying to, unlike other times where some people claim credit for the fame, what I'm basically saying is fact. Because if not, you know, if anything, I would have been, if they were the first, I would have been shocked to find out that they were. But in fact, they weren't. We were there long before they ever showed up. And I even said, I probably said this before, but I actually said to myself in that episode aired on the Travel Channel, I said, if Zach says those magic words that they're the first investigators, I'm turning off the episode and I've lost all respect for Zach. I still have respect for the rest of the crew, but
Yeah.
not for him. So I watched the episode, and indeed he said it, and just as I expected, I was like, "All right, that's it, I'm done." And I turned it off because I
Yeah.
was so disgusted with him. He's
Well,
still,
he did a lot of people wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, he really did.
I was behind him in Texas when he had just left when I came in, and they were still pissed off about him when I got there because he had left his crew, told them what to do, walked away, was there for the shots, and left.
There was also another incident that, in fact, this was also with one of the other guests that was at ParaPsyCon, and I remember this. Um, Yeah, they also said that too about like Tom just said about Mineral Springs Hotel and McPike Mansion down in Alton, Illinois. They said the same thing too, and those are two places that have been investigated for years. In fact, I always bring this old show up, like almost 25 years ago. In 2001, you had Scariest Places on Earth, which aired years before Ghost Adventures ever did, and they investigated both of those locations. So with Zach saying that, there is evidence that there were other shows and groups that were there before them. But something else, and Tom knows this all too well. Among one of the other guests that was at ParaPsyCon was, I think I asked you guys this before. You guys know who Mike Ricksecker is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mike Ricksecker, of course, it was great seeing him once again at ParaPsyCon. He was supposed to be on an episode of Ghost Adventures because at the time that they were supposed to do, I think he was living in, Tom, correct me, I think he was living in Ohio then. He's living back in Ohio now, but he was kind of moving around. And then he had to drive all the way out to, what was it? I think it was either Oklahoma or Kansas. It was one of the two states. I can't. It might have been Oklahoma. And they did an interview. They filmed it. They interviewed him, but for this episode. But when the episode aired, they cut out all the footage that they interviewed Mike. He drove literally several hundred miles from Ohio to Oklahoma to be interviewed for an episode of Ghost Adventures, and he was not even featured in it. And as you
Now,
can imagine, that
now
pissed Mike the hell off, and I don't blame him for feeling
I
that.
have to be fair. I have to be fair on that one because my anger towards Zach is yeah, but they work for a TV show. They do not have control of the edits. They don't. I don't care if you're the biggest star on it. You don't have control of the edits. That's the company that does it.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. But I do want to mention Angela.
That fixed to where he does control the edit, because when the show first started, supposedly he did all the editing of the show.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I've seen the contract for Travel Channel and A&E. Nah. No.
I don't feel bad for what happened to him either, Jan. What Jan just said, what's happened to him. Like the whole thing with the Demon House in Gary, Indiana, and now he's claiming that he's blind and that he needs to wear sunglasses, and whether or not that's it's real. He kind of brought this on himself, if anything.
Oh yeah, during that show, if that's real, yes, he did. But I do want to acknowledge something with Angela. She said she's dealt with the paranormal all her life. The last thing you do is look for more. Okay, there's 3 kinds of people. There's the kind that run into paranormal somewhere during their life and
don't want anything to do with it.
Right. Just blow it off as something else. There's the ones that have dealt with it all their lives and are looking for more, or know that they're here to help for a reason. They're seeing it for a reason, Jan. And then there's ones that
I'll call out.
Oh, she knows I will. And then there's ones that have never had an encounter and decide to get into the field to, whether you're debunking or whether you're trying to find reasons. And then there's some people that are there just because they want to know what happens if they can find out what happens after you're gone, because they're, closer to this side than this side. That's what I meant, Jan. You've seen it all your life. You know you have a purpose.
Tom says,
then there are those who seek the paranormal because they think it's going to bring them fame.
Yep.
No, that's fake.
Obviously,
those are fakers. That's
and that reminds me of something else. And I've told you guys about this previously for this year's ParaPsyCon. I'm sure you guys know who I'm about to bring up because I'm not going to say the name. You remember that one person I told you about that we saw last year?
It was there.
No, she wasn't there this time.
Oh, okay.
She was not there this. I think they probably realized that she was kind of treating everyone very poorly, and I don't think they wanted her to come back.
No, they didn't realize that. They would have had her back.
And not to mention, I think after they saw
on every man she could.
What's that?
Is this the one that was rubbing up on every man she could? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is her. And considering that I'm pretty not trying to use it, but you get what I mean. Considering that I'm kind of notorious for showing up at ParaPsyCon, I think some of the other investigators and guys that were running it saw the lack of respect that she was giving to me and some of the others, that they didn't want her back for that.
I don't know if it's that they didn't want her back or, we don't know the story. It could be that she couldn't make it. Unfortunately, people like that, they do want back. People do want back simply because they cause a scene.
Yeah.
And that's how she has gotten to where she has gotten.
That's not the kind of person I would want at anything that I throw on. I wouldn't want that.
No respectable person would. But
no.
Let's be, and you know what? That also brings up something else. When I was at ParaPsyCon,
that's what I said.
I cannot. Yeah.
So does she.
Yep. Oh, that thing, Nick. Yeah. I'm going to be honest too. When I was also at ParaPsyCon too, because this was the first time that I really saw everybody since, especially from the Michigan Paracon, and considering that a few months had gone by since my ordeal back in November, there were I've never had so many people come up to me like hugging me so tightly in my entire life because they knew I'd gone through a horrific ordeal with my brain bleeds, and some of them never even got a word about it. Like they would say things like even I was even I was even more surprised at some of the big names. So they were like, "Yeah, we heard you were not feeling so good a few months ago. Like what happened to you?" I can't tell you how many times.
Oh,
Yeah, Cody and Satori were there too. Um, I can't tell you guys how many times I had to. I kept it real short, of course, but how many times I had to tell them about what happened, and then there were so many others out there that were just like they were. It was almost like they were just relieved to see that I was there because from the way they were showing their from the way I saw in their eyes, and after what happened to me back in November, they really didn't think they were ever going to see me again.
well, Nick, you realize how serious brain bleeds are.
Yes, definitely.
So that's why they were acting that way.
Exactly. Again, I've never had so many people embracing me. I mean that many times, and it was just, I guess to them they were just so happy that I was there. They really didn't think they were. Like I said, some of these guys didn't really think that they were ever going to see me again.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Cody and Satori, did you get to talk to them?
Yeah, in fact, they were among the ones that only got very vivid details. And when I spoke to, for starters, when I spoke to them about it, because obviously that was the first thing that kept coming up in these conversations, I'll never forget just the amount of shock that they had on their faces when I was
Yes.
telling them this.
Yeah.
But they were, as usual, they were very nice to chat with.
Isn't Satori pregnant now?
No, I didn't. Well, I don't know anything about that. She didn't look pregnant when I saw her.
Okay, maybe I'm mistaken. Wrong
But
person.
they're always kind as ever. They always appreciate, us chatting with them. I mean, it really has gone to the point that we definitely have called each other friends at this point, which I'm very proud of.
Yeah, yeah. I know they're good people.
Might have had a baby recently.
What is
Chris
it?
Amy?
Satori is the daughter of Jason Hawes from
Yeah.
Ghost Hunters. Ghost Hunters.
Get down, girl. No. I'll give her falling. Yeah, she was. Which reminds me, Jim. We don't talk about her, but you see who she's hooked up with now?
Are we talking about that person again?
Yep.
Who's, oh God, what is it now? Who is
Somebody
it now?
I used to respect, and Jan was always telling me that bitch is crazy.
Okay, so let me ask you a question here for everybody. If nobody gives a shit about her, why does somebody keep tabs on her?
Because number one, she is taking money from a lot of our friends.
She is.
Still?
And yes. And number two, because we've had to deal with her and the after effects of her.
Well, and I, of course, and I just dealt with her, like I said, over a year ago. That brings up something else too. I forgot to mention this. With everybody that was giving their reactions to me, like when I came to ParaPsyCon this year, like, everyone that was like still kind of in shock or just relieved that I was there. I can tell you probably right now that if she was there, I don't think she wouldn't even care the least bit.
She
would
wouldn't
never
know
even give
the
a second.
difference
What's that?
because she wouldn't know the difference because she's in a different circle. Her need is for people to kiss her lily white ass
Yeah.
and give her money. Other
Yeah.
than
So
that, she don't care.
she would definitely not show any of that respect to me. I mean, she wouldn't even give it a second thought. She would not, like,
Absolutely not.
knowing that I was close to death or almost died a very slow and painful death.
Blood clots are no joke.
They're not.
Anywhere you look at them, they are no joke anywhere in your body.
Yeah.
But in your brain, that's
the worst. That's
yeah.
the worst
I mean,
spot to get to.
like I had them in my lungs. There was a chance that they could just dissipate and they're not going to go to my brain or my heart or anywhere else. But in your brain, it's already passed through all that and it's there.
As crazy as it's going to sound, in addition to those type of reactions, and there was even a few people that were like this that embraced me, but not only did it seem like they were just hugging me so tight, that they were so happy to see me, but I'm not gonna lie, I think even a few almost like wanted to hold their tears back. That's how personal it was to them.
And that's awesome that you make that sort of impression.
Yeah. And to be totally honest with you, that's never happened to me before.
Well, and that's because nothing like that has ever happened to you before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no shit. We've watched it. I watched it.
Let's see what. Oh yeah, I want to bring up what Tom said. Yeah, it's true. Unfortunately, some of the people that they weren't there this past ParaPsyCon, because some of the people that were at ParaPsyCon were also at another Paracon that was happening at the exact same time. That was the Spring City Pennhurst Paracon. Obviously, that was happening in Pennhurst in Spring City, Pennsylvania. And that's the thing that I've noticed basically, is that anytime you have ParaPsyCon, Spring City Paracon also happens exactly at the same time. I think they created that. If I'm thinking correctly, they started this event because it was to rival the success of ParaPsyCon. So there was kind of been a bitter rivalry between these two From what I heard about Spring City, like anybody there that was at the event, first time ever Nick Groff went to any of these type of Paracons in quite a long time. He was there. The Ghost Brothers, who used to attend ParaPsyCon, they were now at Spring City. And even Josh Gates was there, which I was really surprised by.
I would have loved to meet him.
I have met him, and back when I used to be with the old group, Midnight Paranormal Society, we were fortunate enough that back in 2000, at the 2013 Chicago Ghost Conference, we used to have kind of our own radio podcast, which was called Midnight Paranormal Radio at that time. And we were fortunate enough to have interviewed Josh Gates at the event. And they interviewed him for a good hour. And again, that was his only time that he ever showed up to the Chicago Ghost Conference. But he's exactly like you guys had expected on television. As I remember, very nice guy, had a great sense of humor, very open-minded. So if ever given the chance, I'd highly recommend that you guys definitely would want to meet Josh Gates.
He's one of the more unique voices I've ever heard.
I'm really hoping, because, considering that Spring City's trying to become better than ParaPsyCon, I mean, considering that ParaPsyCon is trying to get some of those people back or trying to make them better, which a lot of the guests that come out to this always say this one's even better than Pennsylvania. I'm honestly confident, most likely, that it could be possible that maybe Josh Gates will make an appearance at ParaPsyCon, because they're already planning for next year, which, once again, Jeremy, they actually have the date set for ParaPsyCon next year.
I saw that.
Yeah, so it won't be on your daughter's birthday again.
I know, that's weird. It's weird.
I don't know what it is, but
just being the first year that it's not on her birthday, and I'm thinking I could actually go to this one, and then what do? I go the opposite direction.
Well, here's your chance for next year. It'd be really cool if there's be some way we would have things network, involved for ParaPsyCon for vendor tables. Like what Chris said, take me.
I wouldn't mind setting up but
Yeah.
I would definitely mind the prices that they probably charge.
I don't know the exact prices of like vendor tables. I really don't know, but and that's another difference too that Tom said. The other difference with ParaPsyCon compared to Spring City is they have the entire event outside. There's only ever been one other Paracon that I've heard of that takes place outside. That's the Mothman Festival, but they have it in downtown Point Pleasant. But even then, they still have the theater that where the speakers speak at. But it's
All
probably
right,
the only
Chris,
event.
let's plan it.
$165 for a 6 foot table and an approximate 10 by 6 area, or $190 for an 8 foot table for an approximate 12 by 6 area.
That's not too bad.
Not terrible at all. That would probably be again. I think that would probably be more cheaper than what Penhurst would be. Because Penn,
Includes 2 chairs, 1 table, admission for up to 2 people. Vendor and or assistant does not include vendor admission to vendor mini ghost hunt, VIP meet and greet, or celebrity ghost hunt. Those are extra. Does not include table cover. Does not include electric, which is extra. So let's find out how much extra electricity is. Um,
it's gonna gimmick the table so we can put Nick through with a 3D. Well, Tom makes a point here. We could all chip in.
Right?
all right, I've got the table cover.
What's
So
that?
so I got that. I don't have to worry about. Let's see. We will not. They got it in big, bold, and underlined. We will not have table covers available. You must supply your own.
I figured.
I am good on that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um, I wouldn't mind setting up at ParaPsyCon. I really wouldn't. I think it would be a real good experience, especially for that place.
yeah.
Um, I can just about imagine they probably have a wait. Yep, there it is. We have no more vendor spots available. If you want to be placed on our vendor wait list, please fill out the below application and submit.
Chad. Yeah, I should have said something immediately like you got it. If we're gonna do it, you got to do it real quick because they fill out very quickly.
Yeah.
Perfect fundraiser though, Jan said.
Even just
You'll sell
going.
what?
Even just going would be good.
Well, and that's why we go almost every year. It's just such a fun experience. Now, I found out once, and again, I would just be going for the event, just like we did. We had no interest taking part in the investigation because I don't know if I already told you guys from last week. The price for the investigation alone,
Yeah.
was $230.
No, not happening.
Yeah,
You
that
can't
was
investigate with that many people. That is not an investigation. That is a tour.
I spoke with both Mike Ricksecker and Brian J. Cano, as well as Dave Schrader, because they obviously were taking part in it. And I asked, like, how did the investigation go? And they said, I mean, while it did go well for them, they had like groups of like 20 people each.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, too. Just because you're investigating with the big names, this is not one of those kind of events where people think they're going to investigate. They can investigate with these investigators as long as you want or hang out with them as long as you want. Yeah. No, you're not. You're only there. I would say for me and Tom, because we know Mike Ricksecker very well, I think Mike would probably make exceptions with us because we've been very close with him and we become very good friends and supporters of him. But as far as anybody else, you would have to go to a different area with a different lead investigator.
Yeah, no, and that's one of those things. Unless Jan goes, I don't go. But why would you pay that kind of price? Even if he's your friend, he's not running this. He's being paid to run this.
Because people want to be able to say that they investigated with a paranormal celebrity. So they are willing to cough up those prices
If I mean,
which
okay, if that's your goal,
I've
okay,
already kind of done with Mike. I mean, maybe not yet with Brian J. Cano or Aaron Sagers or any of those other guys, but I'm not in a rush of doing that. I just think if I get the opportunity to investigate with those guys, then hell yeah, I'd be more than happy to. But not, I'm not going to pay such a price like that. It's
There's
just
not a
more of
single person that I would pay $1 to. Hey, can I investigate with you? No.
yeah. If I just simply asked and they said, like, yeah, just stay with us or something like that, I'm all for it. It's almost kind of like a waiting period. It would almost be like a waiting period for me, if anything, because there's no way I'm paying that kind of price.
well,
And a lot of the and one more important, a lot of the money that is going into these investigations, it's not even going because yes, a lot of these we do have a lot of investigations like this that are expensive, but that is usually for a very important reason. Most of the time, it goes for the restoration of the location. This
yeah,
money's not even going to OSR at all. It's not even going to any restoration
no, that
whatsoever.
wouldn't work. No, no.
Okay, I am also looking at sponsorship levels for ParaPsyCon. Um, they
Oh,
got a
dear.
number of them from $500 all the way up to $3,000.
Holy cow.
No, 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 no.
We go as a group that, as Jan said, we go as a group, everyone in their shirts. That would be nice. With,
Well, we investigated with Mustafa
So, Nick, I have to ask you this question. Why are you always dressed in a tie every time you go to these places?
that's part of my uniform now. I told you I got a uniform in this nowadays, and I add the tie with it because it's a ghost tie.
You need a things uniform.
Yeah, I know. You know, okay, so I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was almost considering about making another uniform, but specifically just for things. I really was thinking like
right?
put like because again, I model the uniform like kind of like after like police officer uniforms and of course also Ghostbusters too. But I thought having things patches on the arms or maybe on the chest like chest region and a few other titles too. I was thinking about making something like that.
I did see one vendor that was called the Cleveland Ghostbusters listed.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Yes, Jan, I was being classy.
We have to be careful with patches.
Yeah, I know. I already know. For starters, Pickle Top's in the chat. I'm already well aware. Like for example, bottom rocker state patches. We cannot use those.
Yep, we can't. Yeah, I mean, really, we got to be careful with a lot of patches.
You know what?
Dan Surge.
Since you made the 6 hour trip to ParaPsyCon, why couldn't Tom have made the 6 hour trip from Pennsylvania?
Because the dude can't move.
He's still recovering. See here what Tom said here. See, we can use the
No,
t-shirts
the other
and we're
Tom,
all short
Oh,
shorts.
the one from Pennsylvania.
Oh, Pickle Top. Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, hey,
Yeah,
he's a
I knew,
Philly, so that
I
should
knew
that's not
our Tom wouldn't be able to take that trip.
right.
yeah.
No.
But the
Pickle
other
Tom
Tom
would be.
could.
I wanted to go back on one other comment real quick. I think it was what Jan and
Good.
what Chris said. What was it that they said?
Yes, Tom, you.
Which
Tom.
I can't see since I'm scrolling up. I can't see which Tom we're talking about. Are we talking about Tom McNicholas or Pickle Tom?
I'm talking about Tom Nally.
Oh, Pickle Tom then. Okay.
I don't call him that.
I do. Tough to get away taking care of dad and so yeah. Well,
That's true.
yeah, it's hard to
True.
do that.
So let's see. Yeah, there's over 100 vendor booths, although there were a lot of people that had more than one. Cody and Satori had four.
Yeah, they did. In fact, where they had their table was the same spot usually where the Booth brothers would have their tables, but the Booth brothers this time they did not attend because they were in fact in the process of shooting a new paranormal documentary, so they had to cancel at the last minute. But they already did say that they were going to be there next year.
Oh boy.
What?
Well, you know the controversy sometimes that goes on with the Booth brothers and documentaries.
Yeah, it does, but they still have a film they got to shoot.
We need four of them.
What's that?
Why did Cody and Satori need four?
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't even really pay attention to their tables when I spoke to them because, like, obviously we were so focused on each other, especially when I was talking to them.
Oh, I see. I see how they were situated. Still, that's a lot.
And then
Wait a
just
minute, what
right,
the hell did I miss? Who had their cock out?
You
oh,
don't.
pfft,
You
that
don't
was Tom. That's what Tom's saying right now.
no, that's
Oh
what
no, Chris said that.
Chris was saying.
Yeah, I know. Now I just saw it. Don't like to pay to do an investigation. Feel like it's dirty and tainted. Yeah, and that's I understand again if it was like going for restoration, but that like I said, the price that they were asking for this investigation at OSR is just it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now,
And
I would love to set up a ParaPsyCon. I would also love to set up a Scarefest.
that
But
would be nice too in Kentucky. Yeah.
they
Oh,
want
this is what I was looking for.
$50.
Chris was saying, yes, yeah, Nick, we need you. And then Jan also before that said, you are beyond important. They're saying that and referring to when I was saying about how much embracing I was getting from when I was seeing everybody.
But Scarefest, they want $300 a booth.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's how much they
Wow.
want at DeadCon.
Well, and Scarefest, that's been running for a number of years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It has, and it gets tons of traffic.
Yeah.
But
It'd be another great event too because this is happening later this year. I don't know if there'd be enough time in case I don't know if there's any spots available, but I'm sure you guys have heard about
oh,
and
they
it's
have
also
a waiting list too.
which one?
They have a waiting list too.
Well, the one I was going to bring up, and this isn't until October, but there's also the Rock Island Paracon that's going to be happening in Rock Island later this year in October, and
And we
they're supposed
heard
to have
about that for the first time last week.
yeah, I don't know exactly who's all going to be there, although I believe they were there last year. I think they're going to be there again this year. I think Ernie and Denise Pack might be going. The
Oh, that's awesome.
Wicked Wiccan sisters are going to be there too.
Oh,
I think a lot of people that we know are going to be at Rock Island. So again, we got a few months. If you guys decide about Rock Island, I mean, the opportunity's there. And we're Rock Island, it's literally right next to the Mississippi River. So it's right on the Illinois-Iowa border. We just have to prove our value and they will offer us a table.
oh no.
Oh.
Or fundraiser, yes. If it's for upkeep, the building, yes. Anything else for profit? No. Yeah, that's what Jans was responding. Yeah. It's
No.
bad business. It is. I did to Chris. Do not even start. Tom, Tom, you're gonna have bees all over the place on your property in Minecraft. Then, damn it, it's gonna be impossible for me to not hit them. And you guys also remember hearing too about that there was a price even for the VIP party too, right? For ParaPsyCon. Did you guys hear about that as well?
What's
Uh,
that?
They were having a VIP party at ParaPsyCon also, like at the introduction, like
Yeah, we
before the con
talked
even
about that
started.
last week.
Oh, we did. Yeah, that's right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, and the price for that was insane too. Just to attend a meet and greet. That was it.
Well, right now I'm trying to find the vendor price for Scarefest in case it went up. But when I clicked on vendors, it just shows the floor plan of where all the vendors are set up at.
Tom.
and some of those vendors, it's not like they're a lot of them save all year long for one place just so they can go.
Well, that brings up something else, and I was talking with Mike about this, Mike Ricksecker, and we were discussing. I asked him out of the blue, saying like, "So what's the next Paracon you're going to be going to?" Even though it was unlikely I would be able to go. I was supposed to see him again earlier this year at the Lone Star Paracon down in Texas, but unfortunately, I didn't have any way of getting down there. Um, but I asked Mike, saying, like, what's the next? He told me that there were probably two, maybe three other Paracons that he was going to take part in. One, I believe, was going to be down in Florida. The other one, I believe, was going to be up in Ontario, Canada. I don't remember the actual dates, but he and I were talking, and I was kind of speculating on this for the longest time, but I really wanted to talk to him about it more than anyone else. And I said to him, it just seems like there's just not many Paracons for this upcoming summer. Like, what the hell happened to them? And I think what's going on with the end and the demise of the Michigan Paracon that happened last year.
Right.
Now Michigan Paracon is gone. I think in some way, shape, or form that it really affected some of the other summer Paracons. Like, I think in some way it's like they had it's like as if they had an extension from Michigan Paracon, like that allowed them to keep run. I mean, I'm just speculating. I'm not saying, but this is what I think that allowed them to run their events, and that caused a lot of these, names to get out to these events. But now that Michigan Paracon is gone, it's kind of had a domino effect on some of the other Paracons, and they're just not running them anymore.
I don't know. I think some of it is, I mean, it takes a year to plan.
It does.
Honestly.
It has to.
Yeah, and
For the bigger things, you saw the pandemonium we had in Kansas and the
Yep.
short amount of time that was put in planning for that.
Yep.
that's a problem.
Well,
It was put off on other people
That
as,
too.
as
that had
far
no
as
clue what they were doing.
yeah, I know. As far as like any other Paracon, like as far as Paracons that I'll be attending, and this just goes to show how scarce it is even for me to go, is next weekend we do have the Chicago Paranormal Convention, which that one's going to be hosted by Jack Chavez, and Tom and I, and along with a few, Joe is, and possibly, not sure yet, Kate might be coming out too. If she does show up, this will be her very first Paracon of any kind that she'll be attending, and we really want to make this her debut. Not to mention, it will also be Kate's very first time meeting Joe in person. And Joe, by the way, because he was doing the show The Deck, he's actually going to be having Jack on his show next Friday to interview him before the event. And Joe's offered me to co-host with him because obviously Jack knows me more than he does with Joe, so I'm going to be co-hosting with him on that. But that's just going to be a one-day event, but after the Chicago one, there's nothing really happening anymore until pretty much September, because the only other events that we're going to be going to, as far as we know, is right now later this year, is SilCon down in Central Illinois, and Rock Island, and if given the chance, possibly, no guarantee, possibly Scarefest. There's only, and also, I'm sorry, one more. There was also that other event that
We
we
need to
attended.
come down to Unity.
Well, Para-Unity, you're right. Thank you for reminding. And so that's four, and also possibly, I forgot what the name was, but it was the event that the 3Js ran last year back in November. They're running it for Dark Realm TV, which they had up in Wisconsin. So pretty much I just only have 5 events throughout most of 2025.
Yeah,
So,
I won't go. The point is to see friends
yeah.
and meet people that you don't actually meet face to face, but you're friends with. Meeting these celebrities, if they're good people, okay, that's great. But am I going to go there to meet one? Absolutely not.
Whoa, what did Chris
What
write
I
in?
want us to do, what I want us to do is put on a things Paracon.
That would be great.
Yeah. Um,
All
I'll
right,
check that
Chris,
out.
let's plan it. Let's go.
Geez, and it's going to be right before Christmas. Wow, that's
Oh,
interesting.
that's fine. We're right here.
Well, and we do have another event, not necessarily paranormal, but also a horror film convention. Although it's kind of expensive to get in, we also have Flashback Weekend, which we have in Rosemont. That's the one event that Svengoolie always shows up, every year at. But considering we see him at other events, we're probably not going to see him because just knowing how long the line would be to see him, knowing that we could just see him at a separate time and get a picture with them. So I doubt we would actually see Svengoolie other than if it was a different event of our own that he was a part of.
Well, see, here's the thing, Jam. Bring the kids. They stay here. Zach has no interest in this. And we go.
Well, and when you mention about when it comes to like meeting celebrities and they're good people, I mean, that's what makes me come back a lot, because of these celebrities I was just mentioning, the aforementioned ones I was talking about, like where they know who I am. They even showed their concerns for me, especially after when they heard about what happened to me, and that they're always just glad to see you every single time that you're there. In fact, I did this for two people because I don't know if you guys ever when I do shows with Lois, I did this for her. In fact, she always talked to me about she always wanted to meet Shane Pittman,
Mm-hmm.
and so
I
yeah, I don't know.
saw that.
Yeah, you guys. So what happened was before that, she had requested that I get a picture with them so I could send it to her. But
Mhm.
while I was hanging out with Shane, I decided to take it one step further. And I asked Shane, saying, "Hey, Shane, do you have a few minutes of your time just to talk to an investigator friend of mine named Lois? She's from Scotland." And I also did warn him, saying, I hope you'll be able to understand her because she does have a pretty thick Scottish accent.
Mm-hmm.
So I did say, and he was very open minded to it. So I called her up, and
that's an
she's happy
understatement.
that I was at the event. She was saying like, how's things going? Saying it's going great, but there's someone I'd like for you to meet. And so I turned my phone over, and then Shane took it, for a few minutes, and I'll never ever forget the reaction Lois had. Her face became like completely red. I don't think she was expecting that. So she
No.
absolutely loved every second of it. And um, she said she would love to have him on one of our shows, which Shane has accepted, but we just don't know exactly when. But it was a true gift, dream come true for her.
Speaking of, are you doing the June 6th show with Lois?
June 6th. What day? What show is that? Hang on.
I'm
June.
not 100%.
That would be the one on Friday.
Probably. I'm going to be busy on Friday with shows again, probably hers. And then, like I said, I'm also doing Joe's show because we're going to have Jack on.
I'm going to be on her show June 6th.
Oh, okay. Okay. There was also,
Significant about June 6th?
that's what I was trying to think about. What was on June 6th?
No, she was trying to get guests, and we've been trying to get together for a long time, and it just never worked out.
Yeah, this will be on your first show. This will be your first time on her show then, Adrian.
Yep. Yep.
One other thing I did too at at ParaPsyCon, and Jeremy, this is also something I thought I should let you know about. So I made recently. I made a new friend from another one of my other friends a couple of weeks ago. This girl named Angel that lives locally in my area, and first off, she's really big into the paranormal, and she's actually having interest of wanting to. Yeah, we all know you're a regular on your show on her show, Tom. Anyways, she really is big into the paranormal, and I think she actually wants to go on investigation. So I wanted to first say that I might have a new recruit joining Things of Illinois real soon.
What
But
happened to the two that you were interviewing a few months ago?
oh, that was Devin and Genevieve, which I haven't been able to reach. I haven't been able to speak to them because not just again with everything that's been going on with me these last couple of weeks, it's been pushing me back. I mean, with not just from what happened back in November when I injured my leg and then all these other things, but now that my schedule is going to be a lot more open, I'm going to be reaching out to them. They're also going to be attending the Chicago Paranormal Convention too, but I'm going to try to reach out to them this weekend.
Okay.
But anyways, Angel is another new recruit. For starters, I want to give a shout out for her. She just recently graduated from college, so big congrats to her on that.
That's
But
that's no small feat there.
No, it
yeah,
is not.
but what was interesting was because she knew I was going out to ParaPsyCon, and I decided to send her the list of speakers the guests that were all there, and I asked her, "You recognize any of these names?" She said she only recognized a few. Majority of them were from Paranormal Caught on Camera. So what I did, just like I did with Lois, first I video called her and I introduced her to Brian J. Cano, and then afterwards, after the call, she was really excited. Again, like Lois, she was very excited about talking to him and she's watched like every episode of the show. So she and her boyfriend, they love that show. And after we hung up, next I approached Aaron Sagers, who he again, I was amazed how each of these guys took a few minutes of their time to do this, which I can't thank them enough. And they were able to talk to her again. I mean, he was able to talk to Angel this time. And then I made one final call and that was when I got her to meet Dan Sturgis. And Dan Sturgis, however, took it one step forward because this was my first time meeting him. And it just seemed like after a few minutes, it's like we just became best friends like very quickly. But what he also did too was when he got to meet Angel was he told me to come back to his table later that day. And he gave me a free autograph picture with a signature on it. But it wasn't for me though. It was meant for Angel. But considering that she had just recently graduated from college, which she's going to have a graduation, get together, which I've been invited to, I decided that was going to be her graduation gift. And he even says, hope to see you next year, Angel. So they're looking forward to meeting her.
Yeah. And it's things like that. You realize who's real and who's just there for, getting money for their autographs or being paid to be there or whatever. And they really don't want to be there.
As far as I'm concerned, I mean, it was obvious that all these guys that I saw, they weren't necessarily there for. They were obviously clearly having a really fun time, and
that's awesome.
And again, not like I've been saying several times, especially when some of these guys later saw me in person after everything that I've gone through. It really goes to show that they really care about people that they know or
Right.
even if they're just fans. It just really they're not in it for the money. They're just the fact that I was getting all these embraces and these oh, we're so glad that you're back or anything like that. It really goes to show that they really do care about their fellow investigators and followers in this case. Yeah. Yeah. So when they showed that really meant a lot to me. It really
and those are the kind of people I don't mind paying to see.
Yes.
Because they are not there for the money, obviously. Otherwise, they'd be jerks.
Yeah, I mean, that one person we talked about, I already know she'd be like that, but I could care less about her. Everybody else
is, that bitch ain't a celebrity.
She's not.
That bitch
she thinks she is.
Nothing.
She thinks she is, but she's not.
No, what I think of when I think of that person is two things. One, not giving two shits about who she's screwing while she's married.
Yep.
And letting the world know about it. And number two, making a name for herself while conjuring shit she should be conjuring and does not care about who she's affecting in the process.
Jan, you don't have to be jealous. This is just a friend of mine. She's referring to my new friend. Yeah.
No, she's not. That was a long time ago.
No, we did not call Robert the doll either, Chris. He was definitely not there. But no, I get what you mean though. Like, yeah, she just it's just I don't even know how else to really describe her. She
Those
would
aren't real
obviously,
famous people. Now,
yeah,
you get Zach Bagshit on there. Okay, he's not gonna. First of all, none of us could afford him.
no,
That's number one. But if we could, nobody would come back to that Paracon.
no, they wouldn't.
I
He's
would.
such a jackass,
He is. There were
self-centered.
two other I almost forgot two other big names there at the events. We also had Timothy Shaw, which I know he's been on a number of different paranormal TV shows. He's been like on A Haunting. He's been on Portals to Hell. He's been on a lot of stuff. Every time I see him, and this goes to show again about true people that are worth. Yeah, almost forgot. Yeah, Tom mentioned someone else. The Tennessee Wraith Chasers were also there too.
I like them.
Yeah, they're always great to chat with. I mean, they're just they're just awesome to just associate with. I mean, it's
What
like
the hell
every
happened?
time when we've met them, it just seems like we just want to talk to each other almost like for hours on end because they just enjoy the company. And Timothy Shaw, I mean, he's become almost like a big fan of me in this case because he's like when I showed up at his table, he was I'll never forget. He was like, "Oh man, next year I'll praise him."
Oh,
He's
but
like,
deflate your head right now, because no. But who
and
was
I
it in
agree.
Kansas?
I agree with that, but that's just how he reacts to.
Nah, deflate that head. Um, in Kansas, when we were at the temple, haunt Chris and somebody haunted files, haunted
Case
something.
files, haunted
What is
case
it?
files, haunted case files.
No, it was haunted something. It was just one word. It was two guys. What were their names? Haunted.
That came to Kansas.
Yes, we were at the Sonic with them. Um,
Were they set up, or did they just?
no, they were just there with us investigating. I don't know if they set up or not. I think we were just investigating, but it was haunted something. They're big YouTubers, and I don't
Wait,
know
are
if
they
they
from?
do TV besides
Were
that.
they were they also speakers at the event? I was thinking
I
first about
know
those because I
what
knew there were some
you're
guys that were
talking
from
about.
California that
The
came
guys
out.
from Nevada.
Nevada. I thought it was California.
No, it's from Nevada. The haunted side.
There you go. Yes, those guys are amazing. Now I don't know
No,
exactly what they
they're
do.
not.
No, top
Okay,
that is
okay.
not going to happen.
So since you brought that up, here's what I got to say about um, the lead guy, Chris.
Okay.
So we were investigating. We were up there in the blue room, and this is where we were doing um, the live stream, and he was kind of running the investigation. But the problem was is that he was using the EMF and saying, "Oh yeah, this thing is going crazy," and the guy that was holding the camera for the streaming was like 2 feet away from him. I told him off camera, on camera, put that away.
Mm.
Why? Because it's being activated by the phone that is
Yep,
sending the signals.
that's
Uh-huh.
right. That's
If
right.
no,
Good to have you back,
at
Rex.
that moment, he had no credibility to me.
Yeah, I mean, as a person, I never got to
Nice
investigate
guy,
with him.
yeah, absolutely, nice guy. But as an investigator, I cannot hold any credibility to his name.
I've watched some of his YouTube videos. I don't know if he does anything other than YouTube. I really don't.
He
But
has.
him and the other guy were amazing as people.
Jeremy, who isn't that who we investigated with when we were going through like different floors of the Abbey? No, not the Abbey. The Masonic. temple in Salina, wasn't it those same guys? Like we were getting like a lot of good readings, like, and I know it was not from the camera. Like it was just such a fun video that because I was filming it live. That was when one of the guys lost one of my cat balls. Was that them too?
I don't know. Well, it had to have been because we were with Mustafa, and then Zach was hurting really bad, and we left like
I
way
remember
early.
that.
Yeah, this was on the second night.
Okay.
This was on the second night. We were up there on the top floor. It was us, Patrick. That's who you're thinking of, not
Patrick
Yeah, Patrick.
because I'm looking at his page right now, and ironically, they got a show on right now.
on
Um,
YouTube.
yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say
Uh,
I often wonder whatever happened with those guys.
right. The, the the thing that I worry about them is that they go into these abandoned buildings, and it really makes me wonder if they actually get permission to go into these buildings or not.
YouTubers, I don't put much credit into how legitimate it
And
is.
We are not talking about them, Tom. No,
yeah, Sam. Yeah,
we
I've
are
I've
not
already
about them.
I'm done with those guys.
They have a lot. They probably have the least amount of credibility.
Well, and that brings up because I know for a fact this is definitely true trespassing right here. Is obviously, and it's not even here from the states. It's in France. Obviously, we're all familiar with the Paris catacombs, and there are numerous videos. Which, by the way, those that go into the I know the catacombs are only referred to just like the access area, but the rest that's strictly prohibited. It's a popular belief goes that the entire subterranean system is simply known as the catacombs when it's really the Paris tunnels. But either way, I refer to it as the catacombs. But those that go through the on the not talk today go through the unauthorized areas of
Do
the
what
catacombs.
I do.
What?
Do what I do when I get tongue tied.
Yeah, I know. I hate. But anyways, those that go through the unauthorized areas of the catacombs, they're known as cataphiles.
Yeah.
And
Cat a what?
cataphile,
Pedophiles.
not the same like pedophile or something like cataphiles. It's a completely different term. It's obvious.
Well,
It's
no,
people
it's
who,
the same term. They are desecrating something they shouldn't be.
well, not only that, it's more of they're just illegally accessing areas they're not supposed to be going to.
Same term. Yep.
So yeah, but a lot of these cataphiles will go into the catacombs, and obviously they film a lot of it because they want to make a YouTube video of it. So I can guarantee more than half of the videos, if not all of them, that you see on YouTube of these cataphiles going into the catacombs are unauthorized entries. They're obviously trespassing. And I just think to myself, gee, I wonder what the French authorities are thinking when they see this on YouTube.
Well, the thing is, we need to start, you know, we can change things. And it's all a matter of sticking to our guns. We can change things. We put our stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
We can put legitimate stuff on YouTube. And but the YouTubers that make money have to fake shit to make money just like they do on TV.
Yep.
You have to fake shit to make money. So normalizing actual evidence and normalizing sitting there, playing a video for 30 minutes and nothing happens. People don't want to watch that because they're used to the TV where they're sitting there and boom, you know. But
It makes me wonder if we have if we have gone past a point of no return, trying to get away from that and getting people to really understand what actually happens on these things.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, TV is they don't understand is shortened. The things that don't happen are cut. The things that are not interesting are cut. But
Yep.
these people are on YouTube trespassing.
Yep.
They are vandalizing things they should not be. They are conjuring shit they should not be. They are doing anything for views. That is our issue.
We
And I
almost
just,
lost our lives in the worst hospital in the world.
Yeah.
Or we faced a demon. How did we do?
yeah.
Come on.
And speaking of YouTubers and stuff, I was trying to think of one. There was one other famous investigator that did go to the. I actually correct myself. Not only they also referred to as the tunnel, they're also known as the mines of Paris. And while I was searching for the particular YouTube video channel, of course, the first thing that showed up right on the search, obviously, was Sam and Colby. Now, I know for a fact that that was an unauthorized entry to them. Oh, and I found that it was even Amy's crypt went into the mines.
I don't know. So
What would
unless
happen
you
if
have
a whole bunch
permission,
of people started reporting their pages and their videos?
unless you have permission, it is not okay to go. It just is not okay.
It's
You
not,
don't do that.
and typical of like a lot of abandoned places. Not to mention, it's dangerous and largely unmapped. In fact, believe it or not only is it just like when it comes to the catacombs, it is so easy to get lost there. I mean,
Oh
there
yeah.
was there was only up until recently there was only ever one. Again, scariest places on earth of all shows was the only show that ever got into the catacombs, and this was even before they had the authorized area. So once again, it was illegal, but what they were trying to search for was, did you guys ever watch, long story, did you guys ever watch the segment of the catacombs? You guys ever watched it?
I don't know if it was on
No,
that
I haven't.
particular show, but I remember seeing something where they had found a video camera.
That's correct. Yep, that's the one. Yeah, there was, Adrian, since you have, it was there that supposedly that a video camera containing mysterious footage was discovered. It was obviously discovered. It was of a cat.
Um, he dropped the camera and he went off running.
Yeah, it was just it didn't really give a lot of details. Like it was discussed, it was a cataphile, and then it was the camera was discovered by another cataphile, and it's a point of view shot of someone just walking down the catacomb. So he's filming what he's seeing.
Right.
And other than the point of view shots, though, are images of bones, the human bones. And oftentimes, like when he's walking around, you do see like it's obvious cataphiles put these together. You'll see bones kind of put together, often in the shape of an arrow, like directing where he should probably go.
Angela,
But
I'd love to see that.
what was kind of unusual about the near
Really,
the end of the footage was that after 40 minutes of these point of view shots and these pictures of bones, it's kind of like Blair Witch style, like what Chris said. But after 40 minutes of these point of view shots and these images of bones, the person begins to start walking faster. Then he begins to run, and you hear his breath getting louder and louder. You never see the guy's face, but you could tell that something's scaring him. He's frightened. And next, he's running faster and faster and faster, deeper and deeper into the catacombs. At times, he'll stop to decide like which direction he's going to take in all the many different corridors. But as he's running deeper into the catacombs, he drops the camera, just drops it, and you see his legs just go run by into the darkness, and the camera continues running until it runs out of tape. Whatever
I
happens,
think I have seen that.
yeah, they said whatever happened to him, nobody knows. Yeah, it is like fishing. But that's what the show was. They were trying to find any type of evidence they could find of the lost catacombs explorer. And I knew when I first watched it, it was going to be impossible. Like they said later on, they were like several hundred feet deep underground. And they said at one point the group traveled 6 miles into the catacombs with no signs of the lost man. But after 6 hours, the group was exhausted and was running low on batteries. So that's when they decided to abandon the search. But they ran into a problem. When they got to a manhole, It was supposed to be open, of course, but it was locked or they were having a real difficult time. So they thought, okay, we're gonna have to backtrack and go back the 5 or 6 miles we went. That's gonna take hours. And they just think that they better hope that their batteries don't die in them. They're like, yeah, we're close yet so far. We're 10 feet from freedom and we can't get out. So
Yeah.
they start going back and they go deep underground again. But here's where things got a little bit interesting. They actually did find the same pathway to where the footage was shown because there was like graffiti on the walls that they saw. And the search ended when they found an entire room filled with nothing but bones. And finally, they found their way out. They were underground in those catacombs for 12 hours underground.
Yeah.
So they didn't, like they said, they didn't solve the mystery. I don't think anybody ever will because there's just too many miles of tunnel. So we'll probably never find out whoever it was that dropped that tape.
I just wonder where somebody came up with the idea of the catacombs.
Like in its construction or
The idea of what the catacombs became. Who would have ever thought to create tunnels and line them up with human bones?
well, I know the catacombs were originally supposed to be, as much as I hate to say it, more of a dumping ground for corpses because there was so much burial, so many of the dead that it was over capacity. And in 1785, millions of bodies were exhumed from the Paris cemeteries and dumped into the catacombs.
So that was back then. Why don't we have more of that now when we have this huge surplus population compared to what it was then?
I don't know, honestly. And there's like, supposedly they say there's about 400 miles of these tunnels, and they go as far as 300 feet. And this is another reason why they're dangerous too. Turns out some are filled with water, and many of the tunnels have collapsed over the years. So it's an enormous maze. But I asked that question too. Why don't we have something like that here in the States?
Oh boy. Can you
Yeah.
imagine if there were some in the States and Jack Baggins got a hold of one of
Oh
them?
my god! Oh my god! Yeah. Well, and
No.
that's the thing about the catacombs is that even though all the entrances to the catacombs have been sealed off, I mean they've been sealed off since the 1950s. But unfortunately, there are always other ways of getting into these mines because you have parts of railroad tunnels or subways or sewer lines, or even on some occasions, and even some homes in France are known to have this. They do have secret underground passageways from their basements to get in.
That's something to look at. Did they dump TV bodies?
That's a really good question, actually, because as far as I know, the remains that are the bones and the remains that are found at the catacombs, all they say is that these are the remains of those who have died over the last 1,000 years.
Okay, but
And cause the death
anytime,
of anything.
Yes,
yeah, anytime there was a pandemic, whether it was TB, whether it was consumption,
Black Plague,
what,
because we're talking Europe here.
yeah, I'm sure that they. I mean, I know a lot of places burned them, but could it be?
It's
That's something to look into.
it's almost like when you see, like I said, this room full of bones that the guys found before they found their way out. It's almost like you're looking at lists of different causes of deaths because it's like, like of possibilities. Because when this guy, he literally walks into the room and he is literally standing on dozens of corpses, just walking among them. And to make matters even stranger, you can't even see the actual bottom of the room. You can't even see how deep it is. I mean, he was probably standing on thousands of corpses, possibly.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Chris said, underground tunnels in every town.
Yeah,
If
there's
you
a
look
lot of
at
big cities with under that's been built on top of Indianapolis.
oh
Yep,
yeah,
that's right.
if you look at it, there is tunnels in every town, and all the tunnels, well, not all, but there is always a tunnel. If there is a Masonic temple,
Yep.
Tunnel goes to the hospital underground. There's a good reason for that. You can look that up yourselves. But that's that tunnel. Then there's always the tunnels that go from when there was underground like speakeasies or whatever was illegal at the time.
Yeah.
Those are all underground. And now, these days, nobody wants to admit it, but every Walmart has a tunnel
Well,
going somewhere.
not necessarily a tunnel. I just thought of another place, and I know this has
I
become
know
the
where
center of
my tunnel
attention.
goes to.
There's another location I can think of, not necessarily a tunnel, but similar though. It's still underground, and this is at a location that's become the center of attention political wise. But anyways, Alcatraz has a underground chamber, which that was known. It was not necessarily a tunnel, but that's known as the Citadel. That was where
Yeah.
you had a brutal civil war prison that existed above what is Alcatraz now, which inmates obviously refer to it as the dungeon.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of, like we were talking about a few weeks ago, there is so much history that is now being uncovered. I just saw a thing, they finally brought it out into the open, which it was found in, I want to say 2008. But there was a person found with a cross on them. The inscription on the cross was 8 lines, and they put it through the computer thing where they could do whatever they do, all their fancy stuff. But there was not supposed to be Christianity when this was dated. There was not Christianity at that point in that area. It predated any Christianity they had found in that area.
So then, what
But
did the cross stand for?
oh, it was Christian. And so now they're looking at things a little different because this amulet he had on him was Christian and the inscription on it was also Christian. So they're rethinking their timeline in that area on Christianity. So, we're talking about so many, like we said, we were civilized years ago, probably more than we are now. And whatever happened to us, did we get too civilized and ruin ourselves? I don't know. But we're getting to that point again. But that's been buried. You leave a penny outside, especially in windy places. New Mexico. Try doing that, Chan. Leave
Well,
a penny outside overnight in New Mexico. You're not going to find it the next day because the dirt has already buried it.
you talked
Imagine years and years of it.
you talked about these different tunnels and stuff like that, and I just looked this up. I read it before, but it's been a while. But here's another discovery I wanted to bring up. I'm not going to read too much because I know we got to get going. But here, check this out. This is actually more involving kind of cryptids or more extraterrestrials, if you will. But I'll read it quickly anyway. In January of 1934, the Los Angeles Times reported a story about a mining engineer who had been testing for mineral deposits when he came across a pattern of underground tunnels in the shape of a lizard. The engineer located what he believed to be a large cache of gold tablets. The shaft was flooded with water, and the city closed down the project before the engineer could bring his find into the light of day. But some believe these tablets told the history of the underground Mayan lizard people, reptilians, come to Earth to infiltrate the human race.
Here we go with the lizard people thing again.
You know what? I don't doubt nothing. I don't. So this amulet was found in Germany long before Christianity was supposed to have crossed into that area. It's a silver amulet, and what it says is it could rewrite Christian history in Europe. Look it up. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm doing a search on Walmart and tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that came up with, no, Walmart stores do not have secret underground tunnels connecting them or for military purposes. This is a recurring conspiracy theory that has been widely debunked.
Well, I guarantee you it's not debunked in New Mexico
Yeah.
because there is one from Carlsbad that goes clear to the caverns. And the
Um,
caverns are, if you look at Agenda 2019 or 18, um, that Carlsbad Caverns is actually and this is public, you can look up agendas for each president, but this was actually they were talking about Carlsbad Caverns is going to be a hiding place and a bunker for government officials. It'd be perfect. It is sustainable. It's a great area.
But there's nothing there.
In Carlsbad Caverns?
Well, Carlsbad.
Carlsbad Caverns, the cave. It is a bunker. It is a government bunker if something happens. And it's a good one.
Angela says she took story of reptilians with a grain of salt until she got one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whew, we're coming up on 2 hours now.
Well, I'm gonna just kind of, I guess, end it with this with ParaPsyCon, like we were saying earlier. It was definitely great to be out there. Heather Taddy and also Lauren Hellickson were also there too. So Heather Taddy, if you guys remember her, she was from Paranormal State, and Lauren Hellickson. I forgot what she was part of, but she's been starting to make appearances at different Paracons. So we had a lot of great guests at the event,
That's awesome.
and
Like I
looking
said, I
forward
wouldn't
to it.
mind setting up over there. It's
What's
just,
that?
I wouldn't mind setting up over there. Just got to make sure that it makes sense to do it.
Yeah, we have. I forgot to mention this. We have. I was told because Heather Taddy was telling me this too, saying she was asking me about one other event that was going to be coming up, which I didn't know about it, but the details were very sketchy. Supposedly, there was going to be another paranormal event that was going to occur here in Chicago, which was going to be called the Windy City Parafest. Now, when we first heard about it, we looked it up, and the details were very sketchy and very scarce. We're just like it didn't make any sense at
I
first.
finally got it.
They didn't even have like an address
Mm.
at first. All
I
it just
don't
said
think
was
this
just
is
like
anything that should be blocked.
all it said was just downtown Chicago. But after Heather Taddy had told me about it, and when I got back home from Ohio, they finally had the details. But they were saying that this is not like your typical paranormal con, and they had all these like names of podcast hosts that I've never heard of before. This was not a con where they weren't going to have speakers, they weren't going to have vendor tables. I mean, it was kind of a combination of things, and it's supposed to be 4 days in mid-June. And I thought after learning the details of it, except for one part of the event, I don't know if I'm going to attend this one because it's not like a real con. The only part I'm considering about taking part of is, you remember I told you guys that there were these two girls that I met in Michigan that also lived in my area. They're hosting, who also have a pot. Those were the guests we were supposed to have back in November, but we had to cancel because that was when I was in the hospital. Nicole and Noel. They are hosting what's going to be called a haunted 80s prom nights, which
I
I thought
was
to myself,
about that this year.
yeah, I'm thinking about. I thought, you know what, that actually does sound like a lot of fun. But among some of the other things that I'm not going to attend, they're having kind of like a burlesque show or a striptease or something like that. I'm thinking, you know what? I think I'm good.
You need to see boobies.
Oh, he does in the horror movies.
What?
You do in horror movies.
I do, yeah. I wanted to bring that up because I knew Adrian was going to react to that.
Okay, general admission to Windy City Parafest, $241.
I know. It's insane.
It looks like the admission is for all 4 days.
It is for the entire thing.
So, okay. Then you can get virtual tickets.
Yep. But
Grace
I think I'm just going to. I think I'm just going to do the prom night. That's going to be it.
There we go.
Chris, I am good. I like to be family friendly. I'm
It's very
innocent.
family friendly. It makes a family.
I'm innocent though. I'd rather be an engineer.
Well, you can engineer a baby.
Yeah.
Oh,
It doesn't,
God.
okay. Full information. Yeah, it doesn't give an address.
Yeah, I know. It's like they don't have an address. It
Yeah, I
just says,
would not give any money to virtual anything if
yep.
there's not
Yeah, it's
more
like
information.
they don't even have an address, like no building, no venue. Like it just says Chicago and that's it.
Nope, nope,
But
nope.
the only people that I know that are going to be attending this, like as far as big names are concerned, is like I said, aforementioned Heather Taddy and Adam Berry from Kindred Spirits. But that's all. There's like nobody else. Everybody else, I did not recognize their names.
And those are the ones I like to go to simply because big names really are not that's not what I'm there for. Night,
Yeah, well,
Angela.
and I mean, don't get me wrong. There are times that sometimes we still have to go to Paracons, like where you're not going to know anyone. But that's kind of the beauty of it, is like when you're trying to expand and trying to make new connections, because you got to start somewhere. But this Parafest, from what I heard, it's not like all the other Paracons at all. So that's why I'm probably not, except for the prom event, I'm probably not going to attend the rest of it. I was under the impression first that I thought, well, maybe this was Chicago's attempt to replace the Michigan Paracon because this was going to last for 4 days. But after learning the details, I'm thinking to myself, it's like not even close to like a true Paracon.
Yeah. Yeah, I would wait a year or two till they're established and see what happens.
And in case you guys wonder, no, this is not an event that
Okay, I think I'm getting it now.
yeah, right?
It says here, click on the map below. By default, you will see information for all WCPF venues. So this Parafest is apparently not just in one location.
Yeah, they have it at a few. Yeah, it's here. They have like 3 or 4 locations that they're having it at.
Not according to this map. They got several different things here.
Oh, I guess I didn't see them all then. I just only saw like 3 or 4.
No. When you look at the WindyCityParafest.com/map, there's a whole bunch of little ghost symbols, a whole bunch of little transportation, coffee, eat.
Mm.
So it looks like this is in multiple locations in throughout Chicago.
Oh my god,
I'd have to have more information on that.
yeah. Once I get more info, I'll send it to you, Adrian. But I'm not sure if it's really
All
worth going to.
venues, parking in public transportation, recommended restaurants, coffee shops, more than 60 sites around the city for hauntings, cryptid sightings, and other strangeness. By expanding the menu on the upper left hand corner.
That's a ghost tour.
Yeah, which is no different than what we have here, like with the Chicago Ghost tours that Ursula and well, Jack's hosting them now more often. But that's the other thing too. Unlike previous years where we had the Chicago Ghost Conference, where it was always hosted by Ursula, and unlike the events that's now being the Paranormal Convention hosted by Jack, this is the first event that is hosted by neither one of them. So I have no idea who's running the. That's the other thing too, is I've been trying to figure out who this event is run is this event being ran by, and what one made them want to do something like this, because it's very unusual if it's neither Ursula or Jack running the event.
Yeah, I'd be careful.
That's what I'm saying, is I'm definitely going to be careful. That's why I'm only going to attend the prom event. That's probably going to be it.
Yeah.
they've got a couple of big names on here. Adam Barry's supposed to be.
Yeah, I said Adam Berry, and then Heather Taddy is supposed to be there. I don't know about any of the other names.
I don't even know who Heather Taddy is.
She used to be part of Paranormal State.
Uh,
And and by the way, Adrian, I don't know if you saw what Jan said. She said, "Hell no, Nick remains innocent."
Oh no, I saw both of those things.
oh shit, Jan!
You don't pass my test. They don't go.
One of the guys from Ghost Brothers is going to be there.
Yeah, one of the guys from Ghost Brothers is going to be there too. Yeah, I forgot his name. I asked again, Mike and Brian, if they were going to be attending, and it sounded like they were going to invite them along, but they never heard anything back from them.
Huh.
In fact, to this day, when I was speaking to them, they said they were still waiting for a confirmation. It sounds like they never got the confirmation.
Yeah. They'd have to
don't
get a
know.
little more established.
What's that? What was that, Adrian?
They just need to get a little more established before people are going to come.
Yeah. I'm sorry. There was also all this talk, by the way, about tunnels. I just wanted to show this picture real. We were all this talk about tunnels, by the way, Adrian. I thought I'd show you this. Nikki sent me this picture on Facebook. Can you guys see that?
No? There we go.
Yeah, that tunnel that she sent me, that is what did she say? Because I'm kind of reading from her messenger. That is the Swanview Tunnel. Turns out that's one of the most haunted places in Western Australia. So this once again goes to show that there's all these underground tunnels.
Yeah,
you know,
they're everywhere.
worldwide. Yeah,
People
they're all
can
over
say
the
they're
place.
not all they want.
Chris, he's taking some more with him.
What? Wait, what?
You're taking some more.
Some oil?
Some more.
Samara. No. But I gotta say, when I look at this picture, I don't know if Nikki's knows. Do you guys notice this right here? Seems like there's something standing there or something like that.
Zoom in.
Probably the other side there.
I
whatever's
want
on
to
the
say
other
it's
end.
the other side, but it's hard
Oh,
to say.
you're on. You don't save it to your computer and then share it again.
Yeah, I know. I got to download it. Give me a second here. Oh, geez, that was the
Well,
wrong.
hello.
I almost sent the picture back to Nikki and other people. My God, people would be like, "What the hell did you send me?" That was a close one. All right, let's try this again. Let's see.
Go, stop it.
Okay, here we go. Look like that there's something like damn it, what the hell is going on now? That's
Looks
weird.
like the other side.
Can I zoom in? Oh wait, right here. Well, no, I'm kind of referring to this area. I mean, maybe it is, but it almost looks like something is standing right in this area, like where I'm pointing.
I can see what you're saying.
What do you guys? What do you think?
I don't know. That's one of those things you really have to be there to know what was on the other side, what it could have been. Pareidolia is huge,
Kind of
especially
does.
when you blow it up.
It's hard to say, but it kind of almost does look like a tall, black, slender figure right here.
Well, it looks like a black one. It looks like a white one. I mean,
What's that?
I said I can definitely see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that's what it is because there's so many, especially being in a tunnel.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to ask Nikki about the picture. She knew about this.
It could be something very small that's right there on the lens.
It could be like a finger, like a smirk of of some sort. I mean, it really does at times look like a figure, but like I always do, because I always try to keep an open mind. It could be anything at this point. I mean, after all, this is a tunnel, but it could be anything.
Yeah.
So speaking of Nikki, she, I believe, is planning on doing a show.
Yes, I'm going to be helping her out with it.
Okay. She was asking me about joining. I don't think I'm going to be able to because it's already 20 after 10. I would like to try to get to bed early because I got a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. Um, but yeah, Nikki's going to bring back the
Paranormal PWH chat.
yes, yes.
Oh, and there she is, speaking of which. And
She's been in the chat.
yeah, I know she's been going in and out. And I
Uh,
also probably let you, well, Jeremy, I talked to you about this earlier. Sometime, possibly, I don't know for sure, but Adrian, you don't know about this, but we might be getting a new podcast, possibly joining our show, depending on the time. But we may be going international again. I think we might finally be getting our very first podcast from South America.
That'd
And
be awesome.
she
yeah,
said, no.
yeah, his name's Gustavo. I sent him the list. I'm in the schedule. His name's Gustavo. He lives in Uruguay, to be exact. And he does a show every Sunday. Um, I got to
Okay.
find out the time zone between ours and his. If anything, I mean, even if he does because again, I know uh, this new task that Facebook is doing now, where you can only broadcast one at a time. Worst comes to worst, even if there is a show that broadcasts on Things Network, I already spoke to Lois, but we could also have him broadcast the show on N&W Multiverse Network too as like a backup.
Mhm.
So either way, I've already spoken to him more. He's definitely interested. The only problem is, and I know this is going to be a little bit difficult for some, but and just so you know, too, Jeremy, he doesn't really do the show much in English, so it's more Spanish, if anything.
If he can reach out to the Spanish speaking audience, that would be good.
I think so too. I definitely agree. And honestly, whether or not we're able to get him onto Things Network, it would also be kind of almost like a change, like kind of a big change to see another show like ours, but being spoken in a different language where it could appeal to Spanish speaking audiences.
Well,
Mhm.
that depends on if the language that he speaks actually is Spanish or just a dialect of it.
Yeah, I'm not
Where
entirely
he's
sure.
at.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
And Chris, no, it is not Nick
In
Hub or Nick
Brazil,
fans. Jeez.
like the people in Brazil, even though they're South American, they speak Portuguese.
Portuguese, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's another thing you gotta um,
You
think
got to
about.
watch out for. I know for a fact that Gustavo, I mean, what he said, I probably said this before. Not only has he started pretty much one of the first ever paranormal show podcasts for South America, but he's also put together in the past some of the very first paranormal cons for South America. And I've seen pictures and videos of it, and it looks just like what you see up here. It's phenomenal. Of course, the language is different, but surprisingly, a lot of the banners that a lot of these groups have are still in English, and
Mhm.
they're
So
not just people. They're not just investigators from Uruguay. He had investigators from all different parts of South America. He had some from Brazil, had some from Peru, Chile. I think some from Costa Rica up in Central America, and as far as north as Mexico. So he really
if you have English speaking people down there, which I'm sure they do, then that could just bring in a whole new audience for us.
when I saw the picture, yeah, I think it would too. I mean, I'm not going to lie. When I saw the pictures that he sent about the ParaCon that he had down in Uruguay, I basically said, "Oh my god!" I mean, whether they speak a lot of English or not, I would have loved to have attended one of those because that looked like it
Mhm.
was. It was just so thoroughly put together and organized. Like I never would expect to see it from, in this case, from another country, like of any sorts whatsoever. But this guy like did a fantastic job. I thought to myself, "Jeez, if only we had." If it was easy for us to go down to South America, I think that would have been fun for all of us to go down to.
Mhm.
That'd be a lot of money.
It would be a lot of money, but it would definitely be worth it.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and call it. Um, so that Nikki can be able to do her show.
Yep.
Um, Tomorrow night, I will have 13th Dimension back on. I will have Robert and Marie Murphy from
Awesome.
the Normal Society. Yep. This will be Marie's first time. Always great having Robert on because I learn something new every time I speak to him.
Yeah.
So definitely stay tuned in for that one. That'll be on 8 o'clock Eastern next week. Whatever.
We're going to discuss Annabelle's adventures. That's what we're going to do.
So this is going to be one fired up show to next week.
Oh boy, we better prep ourselves for this, Jeremy.
I'm not preparing anything.
Whatever comes out our mouths comes out our mouths.
Yeah. I am not concerned about the demonic qualities of Annabelle the doll.
Oh no, I'm not talking about the subject itself, just the conversation that's gonna occur. That's all I'm saying.
I love to hear all the different views.
Yeah.
It ain't going to be worse than some of the other conversations we've had over the weeks.
You can't argue with that.
But do I believe that Annabelle is as bad as everybody says she is? No.
No,
I don't think she's any more harmful than Lucy is.
I don't either.
No, I always would say too that even if Annabelle truly was dangerous, like back in the 70s, maybe she was at one point, but I think honestly it could be possible she may have lost a lot of that power. You know, she's been blessed.
I have the opposite idea on that, and we'll talk about that next
Well,
week.
yeah, exactly. But you get what I mean, though, is maybe she's just weakened. But I could be wrong.
I have the opposite idea, and we will discuss that next week.
Yeah, remind me for that next week.
In the meantime, boobies.
Oh, come on, you got to add the show that way.
Yes.
No, I'll do you one better. Boobies in Illinois. Meanwhile,
And cockroaches.
I got to send you something.
contact Chris. Ask him about the peeping pepper sauce. It's really good. It tastes very good. It is not like your regular hot sauce. It doesn't burn. It doesn't leave. It doesn't make you sweat or anything like that. It's just really good. It's almost like, I don't know, like a barbecue sauce, but it's not barbecue.
Look what you did, Adrian. Look what you did. I would have been fine. I don't know if Jan's still watching. I would have been more fine if we ended it with beef sticks.
Beef sticks, boobies, roaches, Illinois, all that good stuff. I'm going to get a hold of him and see. I want one of those now.
Chris or beef stick?
I heard Tom talking something about bees. I don't even want to know.
No,
I was talking about the hot sauce.
It's involving Minecraft.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, folks. We're going to go ahead and call it a night. Thank you so much for playing along with our shenanigans. I guess would be the nice way of putting it. And we will all see you next week. Stay tuned for Nikki's show as she comes on. Whenever she comes on.
Yeah,
She's going
to be starting just. I'm going to be helping her out, so she'll be starting in a few minutes.
All right, that sounds good. You guys have a good show, and everybody out there, you guys have a good night. See you later.
Have a good night.
Boobies.